Hey you, so on this video I wanted to talk about have mints become way too opportunistic. So what do I mean by that? So of course what I'm going to be mentioning is going to be from my own perspective, but when I say have they become way too opportunistic, it's that the new practices and I think dirty practices that I'm seeing from the mints when they're releasing coins, and that they're going on to have more practices like a private greedy individual than a mint, and I'll touch upon these as we go in. So these are a couple of the Royal Mint offering coins that I've got to display today, and it's funny because I'm going to be focusing mainly on the Royal Mint. So when I say have they become way too opportunistic, it's practices that I've recently been seeing them do quite a lot that has led me to now currently change a strategy that I had when it was picking up certain type of coins like these type of sovereigns and the likes of. Whereas when you look at the sovereign, and this being an anniversary sovereign, you've got to now really fight fire with fire and tick for tack and anticipate their next move, in that you had a design when you're talking about anniversary coin that was only released for that specific year. So they released this within the sovereign ranges that they brought out first, and so you had the first range of sovereigns that they brought out for the anniversary that was only going to be that design for 2017. Now they damn near released every type of variation with that coin. You had the 5 coin sov, you had every type of sovereign within that range. So ideally and realistically you no longer need to release more, but it's these opportunistic practices that I see them doing where they've gone on now to release the free more offerings, and this is what I'm talking about. The mints are now playing a lot more greedier. Now, technically I am whining as a private investor, an individual that approaches picking up these collector coins from an investment perspective, that I want them to go on to increase and maximize and get maximum profit out of them. So yes, I am, but I also feel like the tactics that mints are doing are not practices of mints. They're more practices, you could say they are technically dealers, but they're becoming dealers slash collectors slash bullies slash greedy and mofos, in that they're leaving nothing left over, and if they are aware that they've left anything left over, they come back in. So with an anniversary coin where you're supposed to get it once, they've gone ahead to re-release another free offerings. Now in my own personal opinion, I believe that has gone on to stunt the growth of the first offering of the sovereigns. Now we can't say, I personally see that coin was sold, and now let's focus on the main one that done the big things from the last offering, and that was the full sovereign, the proof version of the first offering of the sovereigns they released. That coin cost £450 sterling. I saw it to go on with my own eyes and sell for up to £1,300 sterling. Now I think that the growth of that coin has now been stunted with the release of these current offerings, and that now I don't know, we can't say that it won't go on to double or maybe increase a lot more, but I personally feel that it won't do no more. In fact, you may see high number sales decreasing purely because you now have a lot more sovereigns in circulation. But what they've gone on and done when they've released this and lowered the mintage a little to technically make them look a lot more appealing is stunt the growth of the first releases. Now when I say stunt the growth, it's already damn near doubled, but we will never know what it could have gone on to do and potentially do if we was looking at it for what it was doing before, if these would have never been released. So it was a real greedy play on the mint, and I see a lot more mints doing things like this. So as I've mentioned, I've had to change my strategy now, whereas before I would have picked up a coin, especially if it was a winning coin, and go on to hold it for a lot longer. I see the mints becoming a lot more opportunistic and a lot more greedy in these practices, and it can actually affect the coin that you've got. Whereas if I could have sold the first coin for £1,300, normally back in the day when they done a release, it'd be business as usual and you would hold on to the coin for longer and it would appreciate like fine wine. But now when they're able to, if they're not bringing it out as an anniversary within the next 4 to 6 months, you have a coin that would have been a one-off release that they're now making a yearly release. For instance, take the Beatrix Potter coins. So now you have a sequel from hell that's technically murdering the first coin that you picked up that was doing great things. So seeing this, and especially from mints like the Perth Mint and Royal Mint and the likes of, I've now changed and evolved one of my strategies, in that if I have a well-doing performing coin, I need to now pick to exit a lot sooner and really capitalize on that coin. And that's what I believe I've done with the Swan coins. It was an opportunity that I saw rising. So it's practices that I wouldn't have done before, but I'm now having to react from an action that I'm seeing a lot of the mints taking. So I think these are unfair practices. I don't like them at all, because it's not leaving a lot of space left over for the individual. I mean, I've had a rep on the phone and they've told me, for instance, the Queen's Beast coins, BU, was never intended to be proofs. So this is where a lot of the confusion may be coming, where individuals are now stating why they're out of sync and why is this one out before that one. Well, that's because the Royal Mint saw an opportunity that they could have exploited, and that the Queen's Beast series done well. Now, I've mentioned in the past before, these guys, they're not charities, so I totally understand that. But some of these practices they're doing is really taking the birdie, in that they could have stopped that one release. They're going back, they're damn near jumping in DeLorean and really churning them out while they can, not taking into account dates of coins. They're technically saying we don't care if they match up, we just care about profits. And another practice that they're doing, that I think now they're just taking the absolute birdie, is that for individuals that was receiving imperfect coins from the mint and they have a 30-day return policy, they're now taking it upon themselves to not offer replacements. And so one of the dirty tricks they're doing for an individual that may want to still get the coin but have an imperfect one is they're taking it upon themselves. Now, a rep has told me before, when we receive returns, i.e. mainly because of imperfections, they damn near just repackage them, send them out to the next victim. So you would get on the phone and tell them that you have an imperfect coin. They'd say, okay, no problem. But the new port of call is basically saying, look, we're sold out. Now, on the web page, it states that they are sold out, so they are only offering basically a refund. Whereas if you was to call up and ask to purchase the coin, you could even get a head count. So they have the coins still available to sell, but they're no longer advertising them on the website. It's a practice I don't fully understand as to why they're doing. It must have been an inconvenience for them actually having to replace imperfect coins. I mean, God forbid they think you should accept a milk spotted or deeply gashed coin. That's just their mentality at the moment. But it's real, you know, untasteful that they're actually going these lengths just to get you off of their back. Whereas they're basically saying, look, we have mugs that will accept coins in any state, and you're just a problem that you want a perfect coin that we've advertised as perfect. So these are a lot of the opportunistic things that I'm seeing. If you take the Liberty coin that I recently purchased, now I've ended up having to pull out of them altogether because the dealer's gone on to tell me that the mint have no intentions of fixing the current quality. So they're getting a lot more brazen in that they're basically saying, look, you accept what we're giving you, or you can take the higher road. So being able to get a refund, I cashed out on those, and I'll go back in at another time when I'm in the US or something and just be able to cherry pick mine. So the set I'm about to show back off is the Queen's portrait set. So I believe since all the portraits of the Queen since 1953 to current. So this set's got a bit of imperfections that I noticed not too long ago, so we'll break into it and see how it's doing. So once again, it'll just be fantastic if anybody else could put some type of input as to a lot of these opportunistic practices that the mints are doing, because I think from a private investor's perspective, it's actually going on and really killing it, because finding winner coins in itself are far and few, as I've recently touched upon. I mean, you're getting a lot of duds out there, and so when you're able to actually find or get a hit coin, you as an individual, especially if you're hunting and looking for that, as I actively am, you're real happy about that, and you know that a coin that you could now, once upon a time, you could sit on that coin for many, many years, and it can go on to do great things, and as I mentioned, just really ripen and become fine at a later date. But as now, you now need to worry at the back of your mind, are they going to bring out a different variation to this that's going to stunt the growth of the coin I'm holding on to? So that alone is one bad thing at the back of your mind, that you now have a coin that you may need to act a lot sooner than later with, because if the mint becomes aware that they're onto a winner, you can bet your bottom dollar that if anything, like with the Peter Rabbit coins, which I believe was to be a one-off, you know, you have a coin there that was not an anniversary, and they would have looked real silly releasing the coin a couple of months later, that they said, look, this was fantastic enough, it was a hit. And I mean, you have to look at all the releases the Royal Mint does. They don't do this with all of their releases. So it's clearly evident that they're only doing this with winning successful coins, where they're saying, we'll take that coin now and make it a yearly release. So I can definitely see that at a later date affecting the price of the first coin once again and stunting its growth. Now, we'll never know if it would have just been the first coins that were released where they would be right now, but I'm pretty sure that these re-releases that they're doing on a yearly basis now, till they damn near have them sitting on the shelves before they stop, from an investor's perspective, go on to really kill any potential profit you could have made off the first coin. So for me, walking away and taking anything away from this, when you do eventually find a winning coin that's a first release, as we all know, first releases back in the day was guaranteed to be a win. It's not the case no more, but even mints are paying more attention to this, whereas if it is the case, you can damn near bet your bottom dollar that they're going to go on and really churn out as many variations of that coin as possible. So it's something that the individual may want to take on board and add to their strategy also, in that you've now got a hot coin, but as it's sitting there, once upon a time where it would have been constantly appreciating, they're working on ways to make sure that the growth that coin may have had is going to be truly stunted. So hate or love it, guys. It'd be fantastic to know any other shady tactics that you know of that mints are doing, where they're not acting like mints and more like greedy private individuals like myself. It'd be fantastic to hear that. So hate or love it. Let me know what you think of the video. Go ahead and subscribe if you ain't done so already. I'll catch you guys on the rebound.